talk about real estate, the real property, the real estate market, the real investment that one should be making to ensure that they have a fabulous, fabulous future. And now, obviously, when we come here, we don't come alone. We get the man who knows it all. Akash Kanjwani, the CEO of Skyview Real Estate, he joins in. Akash, how are you doing today?
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Neil, for the welcome.
Akash, there are so many aspects of real estate that we've been talking about. Throughout the entire weeks of our conversations, we've spoken about multiple aspects on why one should be investing here in the UAE versus their investments in their home countries, investment in various other investment instruments versus real estate. We also spoke about various neighborhoods and also spoke about properties below 1 million. But whenever anyone thinks of buying properties here in the UAE, you see those fancy ads on Instagram, you'll see those beautiful reels that are created, and there's a price point that's almost unbelievable at times.
Yeah.
You wonder, are there other hidden charges that are not advertised? Are there other fees that one will have to pay over and above what is mentioned? And that does put that little doubt in the mind, Akash, doesn't it?
Well, the thing is, like any investment, like anything that you buy, there are hidden charges.
Right.
And then when it comes to a property, so there is the only fancy thing is being updated, which is the price, which is the location, which is sometimes people advertise the down payment as your main factor. So let's say pay 10,000 and book a unit.
That's right, yeah.
Wait, what do you mean by pay 10,000 and book a unit? Am I getting a one-bedroom house for 10,000? So, Land Department and RERA have come down very heavily on these kind of advertisements. You cannot say sold out without project being sold out. If you advertise something which has been sold out, then you have to make sure that you register all the units and you have to show. Land Department gives you only 60 days time maximum to register the units in Land Department system. So Land Department is doing its part, but also it's the public which needs to do its part as well. Every advertisement has a fine print. If it doesn't have a fine print, then the Land Department takes actions against all the brokers and everybody. What is a person needs to understand that you need to sit down and take down your points. It's just not the property value which is there. There are charges, there are other charges which we'll go through today one by one. Right. And I want people to take down their pen and paper. If you're at home, if you're driving, just record it or probably just make a note of what we are going to talk today, because this is very important to understand that the importance of hidden charges which is there. And sometimes these charges makes the biggest difference in the return on investment that you can get.
Which is fair, because obviously you're not calculating those charges in the total amount that you're going to pay, and thus,
correct,
if hypothetically it were to be, say, 5% also, if it were to be 5% of the total amount that you're paying, that 5% ROI completely
gets this thing. So the main reason for you to buy, so we have discussed so many reasons to buy. First of all was our ROI, which is the return on investment, the golden visa. The rent versus owning. So if your owning expenses is more than rental, then you will continue to do that.
Which is true.
You have to arrange the down payment. You have to arrange other charges, for example, service fees. There are other fees which involve chiller charges. There is a maintenance charge which has been put on the property. Some buildings have charges like community fees, which is apart from your building maintenance charges. There is a master developer community fees which has been added. So all those things should be looked into before we before you start making a decision. So let's go community to community. Let's go property to property. We have discussed various options. Last week we were discussing about apartment versus townhouses versus villas, and taking that discussion ahead. Each three of them have a different payments that you have to do. Each three of them have a different extra hidden charges. Now the reason why we say hidden charges, it's not like someone is going to come down after 5 years or 3 years.
Right.
But these are the charges which normally people try to not to show it upfront.
Right. They're not advertised.
They're not advertised. So when you go to a property portal and then you look at a certain property, they these are very small, fine print, and Land Department hates this. Land Department wants everything transparent.
That's how it should be, isn't it? Like you go to a place, you want to buy something, it will say that it is X amount plus 5% VAT, and that is your total price.
Correct. So let's go one by one. Okay. So let's say there are two types of investments or properties that you will be buying. One is when you buy directly from a developer. Whether it's a broker involved or you go to a developer's office and a sales agent of a broker. So a broker, a real estate company, acts on behalf of you He goes to a developer's office, chooses the right kind of property and gives you those options.
Fair.
When you enter a developer's office, he only sells you his stock, whatever is available. So a sales guy is more motivated to sell developer stock. A broker is more motivated to sell the property which you might be interested in and which is comfortable to you. So this question which it comes, when I go to a developer's office, why do I buy a property from a broker? I can go to a developer's office and I can just walk in and I can buy a property directly. Well, you can do that. There is no stopping on that.
That's a valid point, right?
So, but the developer's main motivation of developer is sell to his stock, which is good or bad. He has to sell his stock.
Fair point.
He will not give you the best premium unit if you walk in directly. A broker, whereas he has a relationship with the developer.
True.
He knows which units are good. He knows which unit are facing good location, good view. He knows which unit will be having a more premium in the market upcoming months. Which unit is better feasible for you. He doesn't want to sell whatever stock it is there.
Right.
He wants to give you the best unit because that means it's a continued relationship.
I agree with you. Because when you see the plan, not too many people understand the way it is on paper and what will it turn out to be when the whole property is built. So offline properties, if I were to look at the map, I don't know if this apartment's balcony will face the seaside or the Sheikh Zayed Road, or will it face just two another buildings and probably an apartment from the other side?
From the other side. So now the broker who is responsible for all this, it is his responsibility to make you understand. He needs to do his homework before you go.
True.
And then there is, in a market, fast-moving market like this, there is a pressure. Oh, sir, sorry, this is the only unit available. You want to take it or leave it.
Right.
But as a broker, my job is to make sure that I make a buyer understand that, yes, this is the unit, this is the best view, but this is the price extra. This is not the best view unit and this is the cheaper price. What you save is this amount, but in future, if you pay, let's say 200,000 extra for a view, this 200,000 in future will give you higher returns.
Makes sense.
And it will be much more easier to sell.
Fair point.
Yeah, but if you buy a cheaper unit, it might be cheaper on the paper, but then later on when the building is ready, you might have no view, and then you might be, so for example, you're buying a property in Marina. Why do you buy a property in Marina? Because you want to be close to the beach, you want to have a nice beach view, sea view. If you buy a property which is overlooking the building next door and it's on the lower floor, trust me, a property in Marina is no worth than property in JVC. I'd rather go and buy a property in JVC because location doesn't matter. Marina has traffic. Marina doesn't have any facilities. Marina doesn't have any access. So why will I go and buy a property which is Marina facing, not Marina facing, with no view?
Right.
So it is broker's responsibility. So when you go to a developer, it is the broker who has to tell you this. A developer will only sell you whatever stock and you have to do your own homework.
Right.
But when you go to a developer, what are the charges? So any developer, they come up with offers like DLD waiver.
Okay.
And this DLD waiver, it's from project to project. Right now, currently the trend in the market is not many developers are offering you DLD waiver.
Okay.
Normal DLD registration charges is 4%.
All right.
Okay. 4% registration charges, and then there is an admin charge which varies from developer to developer. It will be anywhere between 2,000 dirhams to all the way till 4,000 dirhams.
Okay.
No one can take more than that. Now, this is a fees that the developer takes. It's a processing fees for a land department. So, that is 4% plus this administration charges for processing the land department title deed. Then you don't have to, because it's off plan, it's not ready, you don't have to pay any of the charges upfront or anything which is till the property is ready. But you have to keep in mind, when you go to buy a off plan property, you need to ask what is expected service charges.
Okay.
No project can be launched without giving a estimated service charges to land department. So every project, they have to tell you this. It cannot say, oh, we have not determined, it will be determined at the time of handover and things. No, you have to tell us now. And whatever you tell us has to be as per the market trends in that area.
Makes sense.
So you cannot say a service charges is going to be 6 dirham per square feet, and when the handover has come, you're talking about 17, 18, because it's written in the paper.
Right.
Okay.
And do developers hide that amount or don't let the buyer know if they are coming directly to the buyer?
It's illegal from land department to hide this amount. Let me make it this clear.
Very interesting.
Land department makes it absolutely clear that you have to give an estimated service charges. Now, service charges can vary in 3 years or 4 years time when the project is ready. You can vary it around 10-12% because of, there is price which has increased, there is inflation and things like that. But it cannot be like a 100% or 200% jump, which is there. So you need to take care of this. Second thing, you need to take care when you're buying a property, whether there is chiller charges in this.
Okay.
Or no. So a lot of people ask me, oh, chiller charges means means I'm getting a chiller-free building. No, there are two kind of chillers in Dubai. One is the district cooling plant, which supplies chilled water to your unit, AC
Right.
unit, and you pay a chiller charges. So very famous name for is Empower, Mcool. These are few companies which have this district cooling plant, which is there in master communities, and you pay a service charges or a annual or a monthly charges to this. This will determine what is your fees on this. So you have your service charges, you have your chilled water charges, which is on top, and then the third most important thing you need to understand whether this property has VAT on this or no.
Okay.
So residential properties are exempt from VAT.
Oh, I see. Interesting.
Okay, but commercial and hotel apartments are not.
Oh, okay.
So if you're buying a property and it is falls in a commercial category or it is a hotel apartment, you have to pay 5% VAT, and this is something that will come on you. So a developer cannot tell you, oh wait, this is my selling price of 1 million, and that's it. It's a hotel apartment, and then comes back at the time of SPA. Sorry, this is a 5% VAT. So you need to make sure that this is not a property where you have to pay VAT.
Right.
And most developers are very clear about it. So first thing is when you go to a developer, you need to make sure whatever the price they are telling you.
Right.
Then there are service charges, what they are expected service charges, whether it is chilled water, district cooling plant or no,
Right.
or whether there is any VAT on the property or no.
Wow, this is interesting, and I can tell you something, Akash. From the time I've met you and we've done this show, there are so many things that I've got to know. This, and at this point in time, I thought that I almost know almost everything, and now you add a layer of things that people are not even aware of. This is fabulous. Yes, if you have a question, send in on 0586861003. We'll try and get them answered through Akash Kanjwani. He is the CEO of Skyview Real Estate, and if you have to reach him, Akash, what's your number?
So you can reach us on 050-2859-321. That's Skyview's number, where you can call us, you can send us WhatsApp, and we will get back to you.
The man who knows everything about real estate investments here in the UAE. If you're looking to buy a property, you should be reaching out to him. And I can tell you from personal experience, there are so many insightful information that he gives out every single time that we have this conversation every Wednesday between 10 to 11. So if you're looking to buy a property, first thing you need to tune in and stay tuned. And obviously, yes, as soon as the show gets over, pick up your phone and call up Akash Kanjwani and his team at the Skyview Real Estate. Akash, we're talking about hidden charges today, right? We spoke about if you're going out to buy a property, you go to a developer straight up thinking, hey, the developer's been putting out great ads. Maybe the real estate agents or the brokers, they probably might just be trying to sneak out something out of me. I should go to the developer because they're giving me great offers. But if you go there, you need to ask these questions. And these questions were about what are the estimated service charges that could come through? B, what are going to be the cooling charges of the property as the property comes through? And 3, will there be a VAT on the property? 5% VAT could actually eat out on 5% of your ROIs if you're looking to rent it out or whatever. But see, this information wouldn't have been accessible to us because no one puts it out on any Instagram post that we see that, oh, there's no VAT, there's going to be this cooling charges and this are the estimated service charge. They don't do that, do they?
Because the thing is, some of the developers, they like to hide all these things. So we had a case, and there was a project which was launched in JVC.
Okay.
And we have been, advising JVC to small-term investors because it is very comfortable.
Makes sense.
So a new developer comes in, launches a hotel apartment project. It was all over the news, everything. Our client, he liked the unit. So we almost finalized the deal. And then the developer comes back, okay, this is a selling price. I want VAT on top. And we were like, wait, you never told us. The contract never says, your advertisement never says. And our client, we wanted to protect our client completely. So what we did, we renegotiated, despite in a heavily launched project, we renegotiated, we got the VAT included in the selling price for our.
Fabulous.
That's straight 5% discount. And because he went through us, we were able to do it. If he had gone directly, they would have just simply sent him taken the booking form, taken the SPA, and during the SPA, they would have said, oh, please, you have to pay 5% VAT.
That's right.
So as a broker, my first job is to make sure we protect as an interest of a buyer. We are not a seller's agent. We are not a developer's agent. We are an agent for you. You represent the buyer. We make sure we protect your interest, and that's the difference. Now, on top of that, if you're buying it from a developer, almost 99.9% brokers will never ask you for commissions on this. We don't charge anyone if you're buying it through developers. You don't pay anything additional to a broker. Depending on certain properties, depending on certain projects, might be a broker might ask you for a commission. But most brokers, when they're selling you a developer's unit, will never ask you for any top-up commissions.
Okay.
So it's free. So why not go through a broker? It protects your interest.
Wait, no, I always thought that if you were buying a property, you always have to pay commissions to the brokers.
No, if you're buying a property which is directly from a developer, at least on Skyview, you
Okay.
don't have to pay.
Wow.
You don't pay us any commission. We don't charge you for commissions. We get paid a commission from a developer. So a developer pays us based on the target. We have a certain amount. We don't sell one property or two properties.
Right.
Normally, we sell properties around 20, 30 properties with a developer.
Right.
And because we are selling in bulk, we get commissions paid from the developer.
Fair point.
Okay. We can charge you additional commission provided if we are giving you a unit, which is very rare, and if the developer is saying, sorry, I will not pay you in this, or there is certain launches which is extremely rare the unit to get, or maybe the developer is already out of the stock and there's some cancelled unit which has come back and he says this is available but no commission for the broker. In that case, maybe a broker will charge you. But as I said, 99% cases, we don't charge any commission when you're buying it from us directly from a developer. It's as good as walking into an office, provided, but you get an additional friend which comes along with you.
That's true.
Lets you select the unit. And if you go to a developer's office, as I said, he might sing you the same song, Fly With Me, but the money will fly away without a good unit.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. No, which is very true because, like you mentioned earlier, that you go to a developer's office, they're trying to sell their units.
Yeah.
And for them, it's not, you are not at the center of their focus. Their center of focus is the units that they have in stock, which they have to get rid of. But when you go to a broker, you come to Skyview Real Estate, the focus is the person who's walking.
Yeah, because you're going to be my long-term customer.
Which is true.
You're going to be a customer which will buy the property. You're going to give me the property again to sell it or to rent it or to manage it. For me, it's a long-term relationship that I'm going to have. A developer will always give me a stock unless I keep on giving him a buyer. Right? So a buyer is more important. That's very important for me. Developer has a stock. It will sell it to anybody. And the thing is, sometimes developers do put pressures on broker that, if you sell a 3-bedroom, you get a studio, you get sell a X project, you get a Y project, sell the project which is not selling, and then you'll get a better project, like a premium allocation in the better project. All those things that developers try to play around. But as a broker, we know this. We have been in the market for much longer.
True.
Skyview has been there in the market for almost 18 years now.
Wow.
We make sure that we don't put this kind of pressure under you. And when we say that this is the last good unit available, it will be actually the last good unit available. We will not put you a pressure just to buy, because I know you will, if you buy a wrong unit, you will not give me that referral. You will not come back to me. You will probably, market up and down is not in the hand of a broker. But getting you the good unit, it is definitely under the hand of a broker, and that is my responsibility.
Now, that's very well said, because for someone who is investing in real estate, it potentially could be his first or maybe his last ever investment. And you don't want, the first move of anyone, the first big chunk of investment that you're doing, because, unlike stock or gold or any other instruments, this is a sizable amount that you're investing of your life.
Neil, I would like to tell you very interesting, statistics that we have done in our office. So almost 65% of our customers are repeat customers.
Wow.
Our referrals are repeat customers. Either they are buying or they're referring to our friends, family, or a colleague in their office. And when we say this, it makes it very important that we make sure that the link is maintained.
Right.
So we keep on giving good units to each referral which is there. And we understand this importance of referral. And so many times a person who's bought one property with us buys another, because it's just the first step looks little difficult.
Right.
But once you start, taking the steps, you start walking and then you start running. So you keep on buying and selling, and then you come onto the whole situation. I had so many cases, not only one, where a customer has come, he said, oh, let me just start with a property. And then today he has a portfolio of around 20, 30 properties.
Wow, that's incredible.
And the money is just that it has been built, the wealth is created from real estate itself.
This is amazing, isn't it?
And even in the downfall, the worst thing that a property market has performed is when the 2008-9 crisis were
Right.
there, which was all over the world. Even that time, the property market was only 50% down. Whenever there is stock, crypto, the property market just falls long time.
Oh, that's right. That's right. No, you're right. Because as far as the crypto is concerned, I know for a fact that bitcoins were trading in excess of $60,000, fell down straight to $17,000. So I mean, it's like going down to straight less than 1/3 of what you held at that point. in
And
time.
the problem with cryptocurrencies is it's very unregulated.
I agree.
So you have the issue of wallets being stolen,
Oh, yeah.
companies going bankrupt,
Forgetting your passwords.
forgetting your password, losing your hard disk, a lot of
man.
things which are there. But again, all those things. Again, I'm not a person who says no about crypto because I'm not a advisor for crypto.
Right.
I'm not an expert in crypto. The person who wants to do it can do it. People have made money on that. But you need to understand there is always a section of your money needs to be invested in real estate, and that has to be at least 30 to 50%. Once you have this, you have secured your long-term future.
Right.
You can always count on real estate.
This is interesting. Obviously, yes, we will talk more in details about real estate and what are the other hidden charges that comes under play when you're buying a property here in the UAE. Talking about hidden charges that are associated with buying properties here in the UAE, most of the developers will not advertise about it, but eventually when you go to buy them, you realize that, oh, I have to pay A, B, and C, which I never thought or probably planned for. Akash, what are the other hidden charges?
So we have spoken about primary properties,
Right.
which is you're buying it from a developer, and then you have charges like this. Let's go to another segment, which is very, very in demand, which is buying properties in a resale. So
Okay.
secondary market. This is where broker plays a more important role because here he has to find you a right property from an individual, not
That's
a
right.
developer. Okay, and the first thing that you need to understand when you're buying this, whether you're buying it on a cash or a mortgage.
Okay.
So if you're buying on a cash, then the charges are as follows. You need to understand there is 4% transfer fees.
Right.
Whether you are the one as a buyer who's paying the whole transfer fees, or it is being shared between the seller.
Okay.
So it could be a seller could pay 2%, you can pay 2%, which normally doesn't happen in Dubai.
Okay.
If it seller pays it, he increases the price. So it's might
fair
as
point.
well you want to add that. Then the second thing that you want to consider is the commission. So in here, because the commission is normally paid by the buyer. He's
Right.
you have a broker who has found you the property, and he will be charging you 2% commission, which is the norm. There could be more or less. That is all depending on the property and your negotiation skills with the broker.
Right.
2% is the norm. So if a broker is charging you less than that, that means the property is not worth it, and it was very easy to find it for him. If he's charging you more, then he needs to justify. A broker needs to justify why is he asking you for more,
Right.
and whether you're willing to pay for that kind of project. On any commission amount, there will be a VAT amount which will be charged, which is as a government policy. So let's say commission is 2%, there will be 5% VAT on that 2% amount.
Right.
Okay. After that, you need to take care. There will be a NOC fees, which is a fees that a developer takes in order to give a NOC from one person to another person.
Okay.
So if a seller is selling a property, he will apply for the NOC, and the buyer will pay for this NOC fees. If it is a ready property, the NOC fees is 525.
Okay.
This is a norm. It is from land department. Strictly, no developer can take more than 525 if there is a title deed,
Okay.
which is a ready property.
Right.
If it is an off-plan property or property which has a payment plan, there will be a NOC fees of 5,250.
Okay.
So this 5,250 is 5,000 for the developer, and 250 is the VAT.
VAT.
Yeah. After that, you need to take care. Once the MOU is done, once this next step is, there will be a trustee fees.
Okay.
So trustees are like Amis centers for visas. Property trustees are something similar to Amis centers. It's a franchisee given by land department in order to transfer the property, and they are trusted trustees which will take care of the documentation when a person is selling a property and one person is buying. They are like a middleman.
Okay.
And they do all the paperwork. They do the signing. They take your Emirates ID and they transfer the property from one person to another. The documents go to land department for approval, and the approval comes, your property gets transferred.
Right.
The fees varies between 4,200, which is if you're a ready property, to 5,250. Again, if it is an off-plan property or a property which is on a payment plan.
Okay.
Then you also need to consider if the property is rented. The tenant needs to be must have paid a X amount, and if it is in middle of the term that you're buying, your rent should be refunded to you.
Okay.
So that's one part that needs to come back to you.
Right.
Also, the service charges. So whatever the seller has paid as service charges, if he has paid it till end of the term or more period than the transfer, then the rent and the service charges will be divided on a pro rata basis.
Fair. So, I'm just trying to understand one step back. You mentioned if the property is rented already. So, if it's rented for a year and you enter at the 6-month gap and the checks haven't been paid by the tenant yet.
Right. So in that case, the rental checks, the balance amount of check needs to be transferred in the name of the new buyer.
Right.
Okay, that needs to be transferred during the time of transfer or after that, but the seller has to give a letter for that.
Okay.
There could be a situation where the rent is already collected in one check.
Right. Yes.
In that case, the seller needs to refund this money back. Either he can refund it or you can just simply deduct it from the selling price.
Precisely. But if someone is looking to get the tenant out and wants to live in that apartment, then what happens?
See, it's very clear, and I want to remove this misconception from people's mind. If you're buying a property which is rented, you cannot take out the tenant with just 3 months notice.
Okay.
The tenant needs a 12 months legal notice. It has to be notarized by the Dubai court. It is not something that you can just send an email and tell him, thank you very much, I am buying this property and move out.
Okay.
Tenant has its rights.
Wow.
Okay. Tenant can only be given a 1-year notice, and this notice has to be officially sent from a notarized Dubai court.
Okay.
Okay, and when the court sends this particular notice to a person, he gets 1 year's time to find the property.
Right.
You cannot increase the rent during that period more than what is the RERA index telling you. So and for rental increase also, you need to give him 3 months notice from before the expiry of the contract.
Interesting. You in the middle of the contract, you cannot come in and saying, "Listen, I'm the new owner. Now the rent has gone up by
No.
whatever."
Your tenant is someone who is particularly living in that house. You cannot change his terms in middle. You have to follow the same terms and condition, which brings it that if the property is rented, you need to go through the tenancy contract.
Okay.
You need to understand the terms and conditions in the tenancy contract because the new landlord takes over that terms and conditions. If there is a maintenance to be given, if there is a wear and tear that is there in the property, the new landlord has to take care of all that thing. Also, the security deposit gets passed over from the previous landlord to the new tenant, new landlord.
Right.
And that security deposit needs to be refunded to the tenant by the new landlord. So this also needs to be considered that this is the amount that you need to collect. And we have a proper checklist when there is a property which has been transferred, when it is ready. All those things have to be done before you go to the transfer, not after.
Okay.
Because after the transfer is done, the seller will be on his way, maybe in a flight, and not answering the call. He's done. He's got his money. So all those things needs to be done much before you go ahead and do the transfer.
Very, very interesting. And that's why you need expert advice coming in from Akash Khanjwani and his team at Skyview Real Estate. Now, see, this is what happens. We're diving deep and trying to understand all those fees or all those transactional amounts that one has to pay when you're buying a property. We've covered the primary properties that come in directly from the developers. We've looked into the secondary market where you're looking from buying a property from an individual and not a developer. Akash, what we'll do is take a quick short break and come back, and then we talk about more and then also maybe look at hotel apartments too.
Yes, we can. And if you can just delay the break for 2 minutes, because I'll just finish this topic. There is one important part.
100%.
So we talked about cash when you're buying a secondary property on cash. But what happens when you're buying the property on mortgage? So you have to take care of all those charges that I told you. Plus, in mortgage, you need to understand there is two fees which is very important. One is the mortgage interest, which everybody is aware of. Second is there is a mortgage registration fee.
Oh, okay.
Which is 0.25% of the mortgage amount. Okay. So let's say you're taking a mortgage for let's say 500,000. Your property is worth 1 million, and you're taking a mortgage of 500,000.
Right.
The 0.25% will be charged on the 500,000 as a mortgage registration fee. This is something needs to be taken care. Also, then there is property insurance when you take a mortgage. That's an additional factor. And most of the banks, they give a very good rate. Right. And I think property insurance is a very beneficial thing to have. So there is property insurance, there is life insurance. Two things that you need to take care of when you're buying a property. Apart from that, all the terms and conditions, all the expenses is similar to the secondary what I said. There's commission, there's DLD charges, there's trustee fees, there is NOC charges. All those things are pretty much similar. Just these two additional charges is what you need to take care when you're buying a mortgage property.
Interesting. Now see, this is what it is. Clarifying every single thought that you had in your mind. What else comes in when you're looking to buy?
So the thing is, there is one very interesting segment of properties, which is commercial properties and hotel apartments.
Okay.
So we have done the residential part. Now in both of these, there is one very important thing to consider. So yes, there is same DLD registration charges 4%. There is VAT on commissions, there is commission, VAT on commission, NOC charges. But in both of these properties, the one important thing is the VAT on the property itself.
Okay.
So commercial properties and hotel apartments have a VAT of 5% on the selling price.
Okay.
So you need to consider either you're buying it from a developer will be collecting it for you, or if you're buying it from the secondary market, a seller will collect it from you and get it deposited in the FTA.
Okay.
So it is his responsibility to do that unless the contract says otherwise. If it is an all-inclusive contract, then you need to make sure that this is the price that has been included. But VAT plays a very important role in terms of what is your cost overall going to be.
Okay.
And let's say in a hotel apartment, most of the hotel apartments, they come with a hotel pool.
All right.
So one very important factor that you need to consider whenever you buy a property, and hotel apartments sometimes are way too cheaper than the residential properties because the hotel is not doing so well, or the management of the hotel is not being able to get a higher returns for a person.
Okay.
Now you will ask, wait, Akash, Dubai, high tourism, in demand, how can I go wrong with a hotel apartment? You can.
Okay.
This is where the experienced hotel management companies come into the picture. If your hotel management is not experienced enough, so rates in a hotel room changes on a daily basis, not even weekly, daily, sometimes hourly basis. If the management is not strong enough to understand this, and they are not experienced enough to fluctuate the rate as per the market and make sure that the hotel occupancy maintains at a higher level, they might do two things. Either they'll keep the rates high, which means no one will do the booking.
Right.
Or they will keep the rate so low that the booking will be there, but there will be no profit.
Right.
In these cases, you lose more than you gain. So average hotel apartment can get you easily around 7 to 8%, sometimes even 10-11% of return. Some bad hotel apartment, even in this market, can get you negative returns.
No way.
Yes, we have seen certain hotel apartments which have given negative returns to their owners because the management was not proactive, they were not efficient enough. And in that case, I say if you're a new person, you shouldn't buy your properties in hotel apartment to start with. It's much more comfortable. It might look very attractive. So sometimes in JVC, you'll see an advertisement with certain price range which is way below the market price.
That's right.
But it says it's a part of a hotel pool. Wait, that's a red sign. You need to understand, why is it so cheap?
Yeah.
And if it is so cheap, then that doesn't mean that the returns will be so high. So you need to talk to a broker. You need to talk to someone who's expert, who will make you understand that because this, let's say a studio for 300,000, when JVC residential studio is around 400,000, why is this 300,000? So the reason for this is because the hotel has not been managed well. It's not able to get you a normal studio will get you a rental of around easily 35 to 40,000.
Right.
This one will not even get you 15,000 or 10 to 15,000 in a year.
Wow.
Why do you want to block your money on that?
Wow, this is incredible information, Akash.
So I would suggest, as a new person, you rather buy a house, furnish it, and put it in a hotel, in a Airbnb.
Right.
So which is a short-term rental. And you do short-term rentals. There are two kinds of short-term rentals. One is when a company comes, it says, I will pay you X amount of rent.
Right.
And I will rent it out whatever price I want to. The profit is mine. But I will pay you a rent.
Okay.
Second is revenue sharing model. Revenue sharing model is better for you because you have the control, but you make sure that the company which you're doing the revenue sharing model, it's transparent.
Right.
It gives you a weekly update of properties which are occupied, because otherwise they might be collecting the rent and they tell you, oh, the apartment is empty.
Right.
Which makes it, little dicey. So you need to make sure, and this kind of revenue sharing model is anywhere between 15 to 25%. Average is 20, which is very common.
Okay.
But 15 to 25, and you need to make sure that after managing your property, the company is making some profit. Otherwise, why will you do it?
Obviously, yes.
Yeah.
Which is true.
So it has to be fair for the person. He's putting his labor, he's putting his risk. Then, if you're not comfortable with that, you can go ahead with a hotel apartment. A company which gives you one check or 2 checks payment. They commit it to you. Please don't take more than 2 checks payment. And even if you're taking 2 checks, you make sure that you check the background of a company, because there have been cases where holiday home companies have promised a higher rental, much higher rental than the market, and they give you in 4, 5, 6, 7 checks. But what happens after 2 checks? The checks start bouncing.
Right.
Then you are in a fix. So you are not getting a rent which you expected, and you're going to a legal apartment. So make sure that your rental terms are very clear. And you don't be shy. Ask questions from a holiday home company. Ask them for their balance sheet. They have bound to give it to you if they are open. Ask them how many hotels they are, how many rooms they are managing. If you think it is too much, then you might not go ahead with it, because he must be expanding much more than he can capably manage it. And the revenue sharing model is the best one, because it gives you complete control, and you make sure that you keep the contract within you. So you can terminate the contract in 30 days time.
Okay.
So it's easier.
This is incredible. You know, I mean, because one would want to always think that, hey, if I've bought the property, then in that case, I would want to go on the good old way of going out on the long-term rentals in the standard market. But at the same time, there is this thought that comes to your mind that maybe holiday homes is the way. The decision obviously is yours. But the decision to buy a property in a community that you wish to pick up, what would that be? The community of the week.
So that's the time where we come up the community of the week. But I want to, before I go there, I just want to assure the people, I don't want to scare you when we say the hidden charges. All we want to make sure that you know all these charges.
Yeah.
Despite paying all these charges, people are making healthy returns, and they are making anywhere between, on rentals, they are making 9 to 10% after these charges. And some of the properties where you're doing flipping, where you're buying a property and selling it off plan, the return on investment is going anywhere between 35% to 100%.
Wow.
And this is where all these charges are making you aware, so it doesn't come like a surprise.
True that.
Okay, so coming back to community of the week, I think the best community that I can again think of, let's go with this one. It's very close. It's one of the oldest community. It's called Greens. It has apartments. It's very close to Sheikh Zayed Road. I think everybody is aware.
True.
It's one of the most admired community. It has low service charges. So Greens has a service charges of around 12 to 13.
Okay.
Very easily accessible, right next to TCOM. One of the earliest communities developed by Emaar, and done a fantastic job. So it's a cluster of 4 or 5 buildings. Or then if you go to the Views, which is next, so it's a taller buildings which is there, which has a nice. So people who live in Greens, they don't want to move out, because they have. I mean, I have my personal friends who have been staying there. You ask them, you want to move out? No, they are too comfortable. They have nice cluster of friends, families, and they're buying. So a lot of tenants are moving out. So I'll give you a very interesting statistics. In Greens, people don't move out. The renewal of tenancy contract is anywhere between 30 to 45%.
Okay.
That's the very high ratio that you're talking about renewals. The new tenancy contract is not more than 10 to 12% because there's no availability. So if you go and find availability in Greens, it will not. And the rates are much more higher compared to the surrounding areas because of the community living. So I think if you're starting to move, look for your house, you should consider Greens as top of your list if you're looking for apartments. This is one community which will give you everything. And the service charges are low, community living is good, but there are multiple buildings and you can call us, we can explain you the advantage and disadvantages. You can buy anywhere from a studio to a 4-bedroom apartment.
Wow.
And there are very rare and very nice 4-bedroom apartments in this community, which obviously is something which gives you, if you have a big family, if you have your parents living with you, it's a lot of people don't like villa lifestyle.
True.
So this is best for them.
This is amazing. It's incredible. Greens is the place, and it is a place where, I mean, once you even go out for an evening stroll, you will realize what Akash is saying is true to the word. Akash, thank you so much for joining in and having this conversation with us. Again, if you want to even explore the real estate market, Akash and his team are there to help you out at Skyview Real Estate. Once again, Akash, if you could share your number, please.
Yes, please. So you can reach us on 050-2859-321. This is a number you can call us. You can send us WhatsApp on the same number, and we'll get back to you with all your queries.
There you go. And we will connect with you again next week on the very same show, Talk Real Estate, Wednesday, 10 to 11 with Akash Kanjwani, the CEO of Skyview Real Estate.